According to AAA, the national average for gas is roughly $5 a gallon, which takes a significant chunk out of your wallet if you drive. But this is not solely an American phenomenon. Gas prices are high around the globe. People in Hong Kong are paying $10 a gallon. In Norway and Denmark, they're paying more than $9 a gallon. Well, now there are a number of factors, of course, that are causing these soaring prices in the United States. First, prices have been high since December. Second, Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the resulting sanctions. Third, U.S. oil production has been slow and has been down since 2019. And finally, more people are driving, which means higher demand for gas. As we struggle, some of the oil giants reported record profits in the first quarter. Shell, $9.1 billion, BP, $6.2 billion, Exxon, $5.5 billion. The people running these companies are also raking in the big bucks. According to The Guardian, 28 major oil and gas companies such as Shell, Exxon, BP, and Marathon Petroleum gave out $394 million in total to their chief executives last year. This morning, President Biden sent a letter to the oil companies demanding that they increase production. And if they don't, he would use all reasonable and appropriate federal government tools and emergency authorities to increase refinery capacity and output in the near term. Bloomberg is reporting that Democratic Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon is crafting a plan that would hit oil companies with a new surtax if their profit margin is higher than 10%. Earlier today, the Federal Reserve raised interest rates by 3/4 of a point in an attempt to tame inflation. With me now, Lindsay Owens, Executive Director of the Groundwork Collaborative. And thank you for being here, Ms. Owens. I know we're having some connection issues, so I think you might be on the phone. Let's start backwards here. The Ron Wyden plan, that would have to pass the Senate without being filibustered. That seems like that ain't going nowhere. What are the chances a surtax, let's just say a surtax in our, theoretical world could pass, which I don't think it can, what would it do?
Yeah, look, I think moving forward with an excess profits tax or a windfall profits tax like Senator Wyden has proposed is a really smart move. We just saw the United Kingdom move forward with one. It says, look, these windfall profits, these really exorbitant profits that the big oil companies and the refineries have been making since the war in Ukraine, we're going to tax those at a higher level. We're going to say, look, you might want to profiteer, but it's going to be a lot less lucrative because we're going to ship those winnings back to the Treasury Department. And then what you can do with the revenue from a windfall profits tax, and this piece is just really important, is you can take it and ship it back to consumers as effectively rebates to help them cover those rising costs.
Well, if there was a Republican president, Republicans might be willing to do that. But if you really think they're going to do that with Joe Biden sitting in the White House when they can run on inflation as their number one issue, I got a bridge to sell everybody who thinks that that's ever going to happen. But let's move on to the next thing, because President Biden has gone pretty hard, and Democrats have, against these oil companies who truly are profit taking. Here's back in April. Democrats did hold a hearing on price gouging, and CEOs denied any responsibility. Here's how that looked.
Our shareholders expect us to operate in a way that delivers a return on capital invested while providing additional value in the form of cash returns.
No single company sets the price of oil or gasoline.
Shell does not set or control the price that consumers pay.
Your global CEO, Bernard Looney, recently stated, and I quote, that BP is literally, he says, literally a cash machine when oil prices are at this level.
Gas prices need to go down. And while the rest of America is trying to make this happen, you all are trying to increase your record profits.
Prices don't have to be this high. You all can make decisions today that will help our constituents tomorrow.
Oil companies are a cash machine when oil prices are at this level. That's true. What percentage of the problem are these CEOs, these companies that are profit taking at the expense of the consumer?
Yeah, I think the real issue here is that companies are not willing to lift a finger to bring more production online. The reason for that is it costs money to refine more oil. It costs money to get refineries up online. It costs money to produce more oil. They're not interested in spending that money if they can sit back, kick their feet up, and just print money, profiting off the shortages that we're seeing because of the war in Ukraine. And so what we've got is companies with no incentive to bring more oil online, no interest in investing in additional infrastructure, and instead just really enjoying these really eye-popping profits in this moment. So it's a real pickle for the Biden administration. And the president tried to address this head on today by sending a letter to all of the big refinery CEOs. These are the folks who turn the crude oil into gas. And he said, look, the last time that crude oil was selling at $120 a barrel in March, gas prices were about 75 cents lower and diesel prices were about 90 cents lower. You know, the thing that explains that 75-cent increase and that 90-cent increase is these refinery margins. And he's pleading with the refineries to bring more capacity online and stop prioritizing these, you know, treble margins where they're seeing since the war in Ukraine, and instead build out more capacity to meet demand to bring prices down. Is
there a way, because people tend to blame President Biden, like he's somehow making gas prices high. Is there some way he can make them do it? Is there some executive power he has to force more production or to force them to stop eating up all the profits and, you know, stop gouging the public?
Yeah, I mean, I think his options are relatively limited, but he's got his jawboning option, right, which he used today with his letter. He's also got the DPA, the Defense Production Act, in hope of bringing more oil online. He's tapped the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. He's doing some of the things that need to be done here. But refiners are going to have to play along.
They're going to have to, and if they don't, how much higher could they go, the prices?
Yeah, I certainly don't want to make any more predictions, but I think we are at a really critical and dangerous period where we have got to take the energy price increases that we're seeing seriously, or we could, really, start to get out of control here.
Indeed. Lindsay Owens, thank you very much. That is tonight's ReidOut.